Hi there. This is a homily for the feast of Corpus Christi. In English, that would be the feast of the most holy body and blood of Jesus Christ. And the reason for having a feast just on this particular sacrament is that this is really the core of our whole history of salvation, that Jesus died and rose again, and he gave us a memorial of that. And so we're celebrating a lot of things today, but they all have to do, as you'll notice from the first reading, with blood. And in the Old Testament, the reading from Deuteronomy, what we have is Moses reading the law to the people saying, yes, we will follow these laws, and him making sacrifices. Actually, he had people to make sacrifices. And then he took the blood from the sacrifices and sprinkled the people and sprinkled the altar. And what that meant was that this blood, which was for them the symbol of life, this life was closely connected with the worship. And of course, worship is a central part of being a human being, and also the following of God's law. And between these three things, the blood, the altar, and the law, you have the possibilities of life, flourishing, being protected by God, and so forth. So that's sorry, it's not Deuteronomy, it's Exodus, my mistake. All right. In Exodus, you have this line where Moses says, "This is the blood of the covenant which the Lord has made with you." He is essentially reminding them of the covenant from the appearance on Mount Sinai, and he is, if you like, refreshing their understanding of what it means to be God's people. Now, when we move on, we go to the Psalm, which is Psalm 116. The question is, how shall I make a return to the Lord for all the good he has done for me? Here again, prayer of thanksgiving. The psalmist is deeply aware that he has to be thankful for all that God has done for him. And consequently, he wants to know how to celebrate that. And his answer is, I will call on the name of the Lord, because literally we don't have anything to give God except our worship, our thanksgiving, our following of his law, and that is our return to him for all the good that he has done for us. Moving on through the psalm, to you will I offer a sacrifice of thanksgiving, because in fact, thanksgiving is a major part of being a flourishing, successful human being. I know where all this good in my life comes from. Consequently, I had better say thank you. And interestingly, the Eucharist, body and blood of Christ, we call that Eucharist thanksgiving. Now, the second reading is from the letter to the Hebrews, and Hebrews takes the Jewish terminology and the Jewish history of religion and applies it to Christ. And so he is the one who goes to the greater and more perfect tabernacle. He entered once and for all into the sanctuary with his own blood. Now here's the transposition. We're moving. Of course, Hebrews is a Christian document written in the Christian period, and here the church is using the transition from Exodus to Hebrews to actually give this first figure, the blood of bullocks and so on, is now transformed into the real blood of a sacrificial victim, Jesus Christ, who offered himself for us. And so he offers himself to God, and this is the important part, cleanses our consciences from dead works. Before, we didn't have an indication, at least in Exodus, of the fact that we are transformed. But here you have the transformation. Christ, Son of God, who cleanses our consciences, in other words, forgives us what we have done wrong, and it purifies us in the sense that we start to realize the kinds of things that are useless in our lives, and in fact downright destructive. And they can be simple things like lying, or they can be very complex things like deliberately trying to destroy somebody's family or someone's life just for the sheer joy of doing it. And we have nasty people all around us, so of course this is very, very relevant. But the idea of dead works, not only are they damaging and dangerous, but they are literally dead. They will make us dead as well. Don't forget, blood is the symbol of life. So you get this play constantly of death and life. Lastly, then, you have the gospel, which is the taken in this case from Gospel of Mark, and it's simply the account of the Passover with Jesus' additions to the Passover meal. While they were eating, he took the bread, said the blessing, broke it, and gave it to them. You know these words from the Eucharistic prayers. Take it, this is my body. Now there's been all kinds of niggling backwards and forwards about, well, did he really mean his body? He just says it is. It's as simple as that. We've always taken that that's what it means. Yes, this is my body. And then he takes the cup, gives thanks, gives it to them, and says, this is the blood, my blood of the covenant, which will be shed for many. In other words, many, many people are going to benefit from this work of being freed from sin, freed from useless things. We get tied up in all kinds of useless things. Oh, why can't I look like that? Why can't I have that person's power? Why can't I have that car? Why can't I be married to that woman? And so on. All these things are essentially dead works because they're not doing what we're here to do. We're here to worship God, give thanks to Him. And because we are doing that, we start to give an order and love to the world, which, as you know, badly needs it. So on this great feast of the body and blood of Christ, we're celebrating Christ and His death and resurrection, and we're also celebrating all the things that this sacrament of the body and blood of Christ brings about in terms of transforming us, which the sacrifices of bulls and so on in Exodus could not bring about. This is a massive thing, and we should be filled with gratitude. Thank you.